You guys can see? 1, 1, 1. I hope you can see. Perfect alignment. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome to Align with Ariana, and this is 6 days of elevated consciousness. Now, I know you're probably thinking this is totally new on my channel. Yes, this is a new space, a new energy that's warm, that's inviting, that is ready to welcome those that are ready to elevate their spiritual self, learn, grow, heal, and share. Now, on your journey, on your path, it's very important to get as much information as it is possible, but today is the best day to get that information. Why? Well, today is Lionsgate. So if you're not familiar with Lionsgate, let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get started with this session. This is a powerful session. Now, I will tell you that I can guarantee that this will not be easy. This will be a very intense, hard session. But if you are ready to elevate and get into your spiritual elevation during this time, which is going to be very important for your ascension process, then you will be able to have success with this. So let's get into this session and let's begin to talk. So today is very important because today is Lionsgate. It is a portal where this star Sirius is connecting over the Pyramid of Giza. Now, the Pyramid of Giza is in Egypt, and it is a vital point, as we know, with geometry and sacred geometry when you start to talk about spirituality and your growth process. Sacred geometry is very, very important when it comes to holding or formatting energy. So when energy is formatting, it can be brought into or taken away. So the Pyramid of Giza does both. It holds and brings in energy from the cosmos, and it takes away and elevates and transmutes energy as well, because it is an actual pyramid. The star Sirius is in perfect alignment over the Pyramid of Giza, which is very important to your genetic coding, to your DNA, to upgrading your process, your path, who you are, your trueness, your identity, the core of who you are in spirit, and the core of who you are in yourself. Because let's face it, all of your works are here in the physical dimension, but you are a vessel of spirit. That is what led you here this far. Your soul is trying to elevate to see what it needs, how it needs to upgrade, to be brought into a new way of thinking, a new way of doing, forming new habits, forming new truths, and the real truths about who you are. Not the ones that were put on you when you were a child, not those truths, but the real truths of who your soul is, the elevated part of your soul. So today marks the first day of the 6th day of elevated consciousness. Now, when we talk about consciousness, we're talking strictly about your thought process. Now, our thought process is very much responsible. Let me get relaxed here while we're doing this. Your thought process is very much responsible for who you are and how you're forming your reality. The times have changed. As you can see, so many things are coming out on social media and the news. That's strictly because the time and the energy is now. We have made a cosmic shift, which means that a lot of the energy that was once able to stand into this place, hold into this third density, is here, but we cannot do it anymore. Our souls are asking for elevation because the world is elevating all at once. And that's why you see so many people coming into a state of consciousness of being what we call woke in the spiritual community. Because everyone that consciousness is now raising to another chord. Like when you think about music, there's different chords. We have now elevated and raised into a different point. So on this 6 days of elevated consciousness, we're going to go into why or how to identify or acknowledge certain things about our consciousness that are keeping us stuck into the third density, which we know as the matrix. So on this path, let's get ready to get into the 6th day of elevated consciousness. So today is day 1, but I want you to have your pen and your paper ready to go to write these things down. So reframing blockages is going to be the biggest thing that we're going to focus on today. Now, when you talk about reframing your blockages, you're talking about identifying where the blockages occurred or have been. Usually there only is two ways of the blockages. Usually it's through yourself, through ideas, your words, your thoughts, things that you have programmed yourself with, or it's through relationships. Now, more often than not, I have seen this very commonly, even though I've experienced it in my own life, is reframing blockages usually comes with or through relationships. Relationships are the core reason of why the blockages occur. Now, whether that be through, like I mentioned before, whether that be through ideas or thoughts or things that you have told yourself that now you have begun to shape your reality of who you are, or what others have said about you growing up, that has begun to shape your reality of who you are and what you think and why you do things the way you do it. Or it's through relationships, through trauma, abuse, or neglect, or abandonment. All of these things are blockages that stop you from connecting to your higher self. So with these blockages, we have to come to a point where we begin to reframe them, restructure them, and rebuild. But before we can restructure and rebuild these blockages, we must first identify or acknowledge them. Now, I would love to get into the acknowledgement part, but we cannot do that without identifying. So the first part of getting to know how to reframe your blockage is to be able to identify what the blockages are. So let's start with most people, a common blockage for some people. A common blockage might be abandonment issues, or might be abuse or neglect that has happened through relationships or maybe even through yourself, especially abandonment. Let's say, I'm going to give the best scenario possible. Let's say when you begin to connect with the energy of abandonment in your soul and in your body as a blockage, you begin to connect through it with relationships or with how you see yourself. So mostly with relationships, let's say that you start to date and you begin to date someone you're very, very interested in, and it goes good during the summer, and then you get ready for the winter, but then you decide that the relationship is not going in the direction that you needed to go for the winter phase. So you cut this relationship off, but you quickly move into the next relationship of someone that very much to your liking, that's fine, but you jumped into that relationship very quickly after you ended the next one. And maybe you begin to move very fast in this relationship, intertwining with sexual energies and moving really quickly and not giving yourself time to heal because you don't want to feel alone. You don't want to feel the energy of not being connected to someone. But you're not aware that is the energy that occurs within you. You feel as though that you just need to be with someone because you want to feel that energy of being next to someone. You're not in this state of blockages. You're not totally aware that this is a blockage. You have no idea because you're being in the present moment. You have no idea. So you just know that this is what you like to do. You like to date. You like to date frequently, and you like to have relationships and move very fast from one person to the next. So let's say that relationship is going really good, and over the summer it tends to get to its highest potential, but then that person realizes, the significant other realizes that they don't want to continue the relationship with you. And you find yourself in a pattern where it's very, very hard for you to break this relationship off. You don't want to end it because you are connected to it. And it's very hard for you to release someone that has been good to you. Maybe the energy was flowing very, very good, but you could not release it. So then you find yourself in an attachment behavior. and you begin to attach and hold on to their energy in whatever way possible. These are blockages because they don't allow you to release things quickly when your soul says it's time, or when someone else's soul says it's time, and you're not able to identify how to let go, how to move on, how to not be without them. These are blockages. So when that comes up, you tend to hold on and you drag this thing out. You drag it out very, very far up into the point where it takes a dramatic or catastrophic event for you to separate or part ways. It's something in the spiritual realm that has to occur to force you to remove that person out of your life, because you could not do it when they were ready, nor did you have the discernment to know when it was time for you to cut it off. It has been toxic since the beginning because you never healed from that very first blockage of abandonment, and now you've moved that abandonment to someone else, to a new relationship. So now the abandonment sits with you with the hurt and the pain, because there was a spiritual event that took place to rip it up to pieces. The cops were called, or you had to scratch up the car, which I don't condone violence, by the way. But things had elevated from the spiritual realm to force these things to happen, because you could not do it yourself. A lack of discernment and a lack of knowing that this was even an actual conscious blockage. So the blockage that has occurred in your system is in your DNA. You don't know how it's there, why it's there. You're not even aware that it's there, but it's a complete blockage. Two ways that the blockages could have come. The blockages could have came through you, abandonment with relationship of yourself, not feeling like you're strong enough to get through times by yourself. But that comes from trigger points in your system, in your DNA, which are there and have been there. They can also come through relationships, so through ancestry work. And let's say you have a father and you're not connected to your father, and his mother had that issue, so your grandmother had this energy of abandonment that she carried, and she could not release it before she passed away. So what did that energy do? It trickled down all the way to you. It goes through generations as well. So identifying that energy of abandonment and where it comes from is the first step to elevating the consciousness, because it replays in a cycle level of consciousness, a way of thinking, of creating your reality. Consciousness just creates your reality. So when it's in your spirit, when it's in your breath, in your ka, it becomes a way of doing and being. And now you no longer know how to do or be anything else. You can only be just that. You know how to operate in that energy of abandonment, of bouncing around to relationships and not giving yourself time to heal. These are true signals, true ways to identify the blockages. So you want to notice that if it is abuse, that is the blockage. If that is the trauma or the trigger, you want to notice, how are you allowing things to abuse you? Are you allowing others to abuse your time, to not hear you when you say that you can't do this for this time? Are you allowing others to abuse your energy by not respecting and honoring certain things that you would like to be in your space? Are you allowing abuse physically to your body, to your soul, to your vessel? Because this is what the blockage is. So if you notice that some patterns begin to show up, they will show up over and over and over in relationships. So you will see a lot of the similar behaviors or characteristics through these people. Whether it's a new person, whether it's showing up in your friends, a relationship as a romantic relationship, the lesson will come again and again and again until you're able to identify it. But oftentimes, when you are in a conscious level of being, you are not able to identify it. So this is very common. This is how you're able to move on to the step of acknowledgement. Acknowledgement occurs after you have been able to identify it. Because once you identify the blockages, it's going to bring true. You might not feel it now, but once you begin to write these things down of what you feel that are your blockages, even if it's you not honoring your own time, that means the blockage is a lack of respect. So how are you allowing others to not respect you? And how are you not honoring yourself enough to respect yourself and your time and your energy and your value and your truth? Because these are the things that shift you and your higher self. Your higher self owns these energies, but your higher self is not able to give it back unto you because you have not given it unto yourself. So when you begin to honor and identify the blockages of consciousness, remember, consciousness, it might sound like, what is consciousness? Let me run it by. Consciousness is not just a big word, okay? It might seem like it, but consciousness is your everyday thinking. It's what you do. It is being present in the now. So what are your thought patterns? What is the energy that you're carrying right now to identify what is that energy that you're carrying right now to move you into this pattern or this way of thinking of how you connect with yourself and how you connect with others. That is all consciousness is. It's a formal way of thinking. Now, it's very hard to see your consciousness, but I am going to tell you ways that you're going to know that your consciousness is off. So I know you're ready for this because, like me, I was like, how do you know that your consciousness is off? How do you know that your consciousness is not where it needs to be? The first step to knowing that your consciousness is not where you need to be are things in your life are not in a smooth flow. That means you have disruption at your job, you have disruption in your home, everything is not functioning properly with your flow, your energy. You're not getting along with this person, you're not getting along with that person. Certain demands that you need for your soul, such as your body, such as your money, your wealth, such as your health, such as your communication to allow others to speak to you in a loving manner, so which you speak to others in a loving manner. That is how you know that blockages exist, because those will be the present challenges. The car breaks down this week, and then next week is something else, and then you can't even get within 3 days time, something else happens, or there is just some sort of stagnant energy where you feel stuck. You feel like energy is not flowing, it's not moving, things are not right. You might feel a gut or intuitive feeling from your first feeling, and you might feel as though something is off. Something is not right. Something's not flowing right in my life. Those are a few ways to identify that there are blockages. You keep questioning and wondering, what's my purpose? What's my path? How will I get there? You keep asking and asking Spirit over and over and over. You're going through different scenarios and you're running through different playbooks over and over of what your path is. And you try this thing and you try that thing and it's not really aligning with the core value of who you are. Also, the biggest thing that I've noticed when you identify blockages is you begin to copy a lot of other creative energies. So a lot of other energies that other people are given, whether it's through their style, whether it's through trying to be known or seen the way in the light that someone else might be, connecting in a sense where you begin to take on the energies of others you have blockages because you're not being true to your core self, to your higher self, to who you are, the divinity within you, because the divinity in you is like none other. It cannot be duplicated. It is an original piece that is worth its weight in gold. So when you tend to copy or mimic other people's style or have something that is unoriginal to you, whether it's dressing through your clothes, whether it's creative energy, whether you go to your friend's page and your friend has been very successful with this hobby or this career or this particular way of getting money, and you're trying to recreate that in a different way. Well, I'm just going to go, and she's doing good in this, but I'm going to go and do this, and that's recreating. That is not being able to be true to your higher self, because your higher self is like none other. It has its own sense of style, it has its own sense of flow, own sense of energy, own sense of being, way, truth, ka, breath. So that is how you identify the blockages, and those are ways how you truly know that there's blockages that are forming in your life, because you are out of control with who you are as a self, as your own self. Your journey does not look like your friends. Your journey does not look like mine or anyone else's. Your journey is your journey. And the way you live within that journey and honor that journey is to be able to identify the blockages, the conscious blockages, things that are going on in your everyday life, your thinking patterns, what you're doing, the people that you're connecting with, and why, and then acknowledging them, coming to some sort of degree of acceptance, to be big enough to have the courage to say, I am connected, I am addicted to abandonment, those insecurities. That is when your healing begins, especially when your 6 days of elevated consciousness begins to reframe. So that's why I call this reframing the consciousness, because in order to reframe it, we must identify and acknowledge the consciousness, and then we get ready for the next step, which is opening the blockages. So I encourage you during this time, while you have this very, very important energy that can help you towards your shift, you don't have to do the heavy lifting. Allow Spirit to do some things for you to assist you in your life. Once you do this, now you're ready for the next phase of opening the blockages. This is true healing, and we will get ready for that tomorrow. I'm so excited of the 6-day elevated consciousness. So happy to be here. I'm so glad that I was able to deliver this from Spirit. I want to thank my Spirit guides. I want to thank my higher self to help assist you. I want to thank my ancestors and my guides to help you along your journey. And remember, as you guys know, I am a psychic medium and I still do my readings. So if you would like to connect with me, visit me at www.alignwithariana.com, as well as make sure you take this time to truly reframe your consciousness. Write it down, put it on a piece of paper, get a pen, because that is when shit gets real. So, I want to thank you guys so much. Be sure to share this video with others, because like you, they might be on a journey and they need help with this. They need help to connect with their higher self, with their gift, their purpose in life. We're going to help you identify that. We're going to help you work through that. Me, myself, as guiding and being guided through Spirit and truth. For more details, for more goodies, for more working your magic, peace, love, Wadu.